Hi, my name is Julianne. I'm an astrologer, and today I want to offer my perspective of Pluto through the signs, no, Pluto through the houses in Capricorn at the very end of Capricorn, as well as Pluto through the houses in Capricorn since moving into Capricorn in 2008. The impetus for this video is a sincere attempt to bring levity and soulful intention to this most heavy, complex emotional period, perhaps the deepest I've ever felt in my life within this period. And through the houses keeps things running on a narrative, keeps things plugged into a momentum of the storyline. And I think that is the space where we have creative agency to speak to what we are doing. And in my own suffering, as of late, I have caught myself doom scrolling, um, but also just as much thinking about this idea of doing the opposite of whatever you're feeling in order to shift out of a challenging moment. So, the opposite of where I was right now is a bit of this like levity and this, again, I'll call it a soulful perspective and a pushing more into the unknown than I've ever been. So give it a shot. Hope you like my little preamble. So I read in porphyry, which is why I'm going to emphasize this as a through the houses video instead of a rising sign video. So check where Pluto's been transiting for you in the porphyry house system, and also check if it's been going over a house cusp um, since 2008, or if it has passed a house cusp since 2008. Of course, if you want to just skip to your house, go for it. But sometimes it's interesting to listen to the whole pantheon of all of the 12 houses just to get a sense of what other people might be going through. Um, and then when you listen to your own, you can start to consider how deeply you have felt these transitions, deaths, and rebirths in your life, in this area of life. And maybe you have a friend who Pluto's going through their whatever house that's different than yours. It's a lot of empathy, a lot of openness, a lot of perspective you can gain into someone's life. Um, Even just broadly holding the fact that this level of transformation has been happening um, in everybody's life. Um, so here I go. If Pluto has been transiting through your first house in Capricorn, quite literally, your bones have been, you know, shifted in some senses. For some, this could be quite a literal physical shifting. For others, this is the very foundations of your life have been somewhat killed off and reborn. This could be any structure that you have relied upon um, as you are knowing your own self and your own identity in the first house. This could be anything from familial uh, structures, such as your relationship to your parents. Capricorn is very much so to do with our paternal lineage. So the way that you are showing up in your family line has likely been somewhat completely transformed since 2008. And that transformation has been kind of the underbelly of all of the other things that have changed in your life since 2008. Um, this could also be truly just about you dealing with integrating such profound amounts of power in your life, profound amounts of visibility, and you like being the locus of energy or power in a way that you never have before, and having to cope with how that level of energy has changed your life. Okay. If Pluto's been transiting through the second house of your birth chart since 2008, you've likely been experiencing pretty dramatic shifts when it comes to how you value your work in the world and how you are compensated for your value in the world. But moreover, more so than just money, it is how you see the value of the work that you are doing insofar as it will make a long-term contribution to the world at large. Um, this could have something to do with literal practices of like working with the land or investing in land in some way. Um, it could also have to do with your job and your salary, and um, could also have something to do with how you nourish yourself, like the food that you're eating, and how you are allowing yourself to invest in your own well-being and relaxation. Ultimately pointing to the fact that you have had to integrate the fact that you are allowed to survive in this world. For so many of us, uh, survival isn't even fully there. Like the fact that we're going to come out of this alive, well, evidently no one is. But how much that piece of awareness changes our lives, I think for a Pluto at second house transit in Capricorn, there's been probably a profound amount of experience that has pushed you into different musings, understandings, and direct experiences around what your essential value is and how that offers a contribution to the world at large. Okay. If Pluto's been going through your third house in Capricorn since 2008, it's likely that your mind has been kind of shifting between extremes of what is real and what is not real, what is reliable, what data points are actually reliable for my long term, for my own understanding of self, what data points can I rely on, basically? And this becomes a life or death situation for folks who have Pluto in the third house. And it might not mean literal life and death for everybody, but there can be just a profound amount of alienation you feel from your own mind, from, again, what information is reliable and what is not. And that has been the biggest test since 2008. And when I say the biggest test, I don't mean it in some annoying way. I mean it in like, Capricorn in the third house is this, there's work to be done in your mind with Capricorn in the third house. Having a Pluto transit there means that work is the foundation of all of the rest of your life moving forward now. Like, um, how your thoughts, your mind contributes to the world at large, and the ways that you're working with time and space, that has been just completely altered since 2008. Okay. If Capricorn's been going through your fourth house, Pluto has been going through Capricorn in your fourth house since 2008. There has likely been a profound continual death and rebirth process in your own very emotional body. For some people, this has to do with the literal base of your body, depending on what organs you have. Um, but also a deep, deep change within your emotional body and how you are able to rely upon your emotional body. What is true, what is, again, yeah, what is reliable, what is able to be actually reliably leaned on, um, as an ego structure for you. This could manifest in having to, or choosing to, or just experiencing living in several different places, never kind of feeling fully at home in one, or never being able to feel fully at home in one, even though you want to. Um, this could be changes, dramatic changes with your home life, your family life, with your own home and how you invest. It could, again, this is a investing in properties too. This could be about that, but extreme kind of fluctuations around, um, where it is that you are meeting yourself at the very deepest level has not been stable since 2008. And, this is something I should have prefaced with, but this last run of Pluto, me saying it's not stable, it's not true. It's that all of your power, so much of your power is concentrated in this realm of your life right now, kind of grabbing it by the metaphorical balls, if you will. Sorry, that's ridiculous to say, but like owning it is the only way out moving forward. Um, okay. If Pluto's been moving through your fifth house in Capricorn, there has likely been some pretty profound creative or relational shifts. You've likely had far-reaching experiences that have dramatically transformed how you play. Maybe you've had children since 2008. Maybe you have, um, really had to learn from a creative process that you're going through, or learn from your essential vitality. Maybe you've dated a lot of people. This is the house of, dating fun, pleasure, creativity. Somehow all of these things have had to been taken very seriously for you since 2008. And it has felt as though these things are of long-term consequence with Capricorn, and yet they are having to be completely uh, refreshed, renewed, and restructured. Yeah. Again, time to kind of take ownership of it moving forward. Okay. And the creativity, again, is of long-term consequence. Okay. If Pluto's been moving through your sixth house, um, your daily routines have been of great power, significance over the last, since 2008. And what that could be is your health. It could be anything to do with your what you eat, anything you're doing on a day in, day out kind of ritualistic, habitual nature, and how you find structure in doing that. Capricorn in the sixth house is a signature in itself of having a very clear work structure. Um, and having Pluto pass by, that means there has been, you know, fluctuations of feeling very empowered and also very powerless when it comes to how your work affects your day-to-day life and how the ideal day-to-day life that you live affects the work that you want to do, the work that you feel is yours, that is also work of long-term consequence in the world. This could also be something to do with your literal bones in the sixth house, because again, sixth house is the house of our health and our wellness, and Capricorn about structures is our bones. So it could be literal bones, could be metaphorical bones, but that is correct right there. Um, okay. In the seventh house, if Pluto's been in Capricorn in your seventh house, there's likely a partnership that has completely changed your life since 2008. Could be several partnerships that have completely changed your life since 2008. Um, and these partnerships have brought upon profound, again, death and rebirth processes that have made you feel very, again, empowered and very disempowered at different stages. And this decision, this partnership or partnerships um, have likely given you a sense or made you take responsibility for your future, for the for your future contribution to the world, um, and just very in a very consequential way. It's very much so the archetype of, you know, forming relationships, business, personal, that um, completely change the way you see your own power in the world. Um, give you a different source of energy, really, um, or take that away from you and, bring you into a recognition or a process. For many of us, it's a process because this is such a long transit, that, sends you off and then brings you back and then sends you off again when it comes to what relationships are in the world and again, what is true and reliable about them and what is not. So again, these themes for the seventh house have been the underbelly of all of the other changes. happening. If Pluto has been going through your eighth house in the sign of Capricorn, it is likely that there has been some form of financial change when it comes to something more long term or solid, such as inheritance, family, property, um, banks. There could be some loans that you decided to take out or things that you decided to invest in since 2008 that have pretty dramatically changed your life since then. This could also be the um, you know, onset of a spiritual practice becoming incredibly important and incredibly of focus in your life. In the eighth house, something potentially hidden, secret, taboo to most of the world, coming online and really, you finding yourself in situations, experiences, um, where you are confronting your own psychic or otherwise invisible power, coming into coming into close proximity with that, and then far needing to be far away from it. In Pluto, we have these extremes, and so we can come into deep connection with our own internal power and then have to move away from it. In the eighth house, this is one of the most deep and far-reaching psychological houses that we are in touch with. And so Pluto going through Capricorn in the eighth can say there's in your something psychic inherited through your paternal lineage, potentially, or some information that comes through some resource that, is either connected to your ancestry, your paternal ancestry, or connected to like the government, um, any type of governments, taxes, these types of things. Which is to say that there are very raw sources of power that you have been dealing with since 2008. So, okay, if Pluto has been transiting through the ninth in Capricorn in your chart, it is likely that you have had educational or international or otherwise um, philosophical or spiritual or cosmological experiences that have completely changed the way or the place with where you give your power and where you receive your power. Um, Power has been, yeah, again, where you bring yourself to understanding is understanding beliefs and the expansion of your own mind. Um, in Capricorn in the ninth house is a very step-by-step, long-term, material, rational process. When Pluto goes through there, this can be like having, you know, grown up in one faith or mindset or philosophy, and then slowly since 2008, realizing that that doesn't track anymore for you and that you need to break with it and find something new, or simply that you don't know anymore. You don't feel it in the same way. This can come through challenging circumstances. It can also just come from empowering circumstances. It can come from both with Pluto and Capricorn. But nonetheless, this change in how you understand reality and how that understanding creates a literal physical framework for you. It changes how you interact and show up in the world, um, this section of life has been at the base of, again, all the other changes. It's something to do with teaching as well here. If Pluto has been in the 10th house, transiting through Capricorn in your chart, then there has likely been a fundamental shift in the power that you visibly hold in the world, the power that you are visibly wielding in the world, um, and what what it means for you to be holding that power as it literally creates and recreates the structures of power in our world. So this could be something from a career perspective. It can also be something from a perspective of your own, what feels true and authentic for you to be offering to the world as your work that is inevitably building upon itself and inevitably following its own long-term structure. There's a tremendous amount of visible power here. It's true power, but you are seen in having it in a way that might have been changing dramatically since 2008. If Pluto has been transiting through your 11th house in the sign of Capricorn, then you have likely had profound changes, profoundly disempowering and empowering experiences within groups, shifting of being in an in group and then being out of a group, being within one frame of thought and then having to shift to another frame of thought. You have likely had to dramatically reconsider how the people that you surround yourself with are directly correlating to the long-term structures that you rely upon in the world. This is very much so, investing in a network and recognizing that maybe you made the wrong investment, maybe you didn't. Um, and it ultimately pointing to, a needing to be self-empowered within a group, to be taking some type of leadership within a group, but also to be recognizing the intrinsic power of a group, again, through very profoundly empowering and also disempowering experiences that really shift how you understand consciousness itself. So the very structures of consciousness in the 11th house, the very structures of what it means to change the world, what it means to be in community, and how these communities shape the physical reality that we're in. You've come to a profound understanding of that, but at quite a high cost. With Pluto, there's an incredible investment, and the promise is an incredible return on that investment if we allow ourselves to be the center of that power and own it in a coherent and authentic way. Okay, and so the final house is the 12th house. If Pluto's been transiting Capricorn in your 12th house, there has likely been some profound spiritual changes in your life. There's likely been some profound imaginative or mental health changes in your life. creativity, the imagined world, mental health, all of these things are sitting in the 12th house. And with Capricorn there, this is this is actually likely a place in your life that really wants to be very well structured, or maybe it was very well structured um, before, and you realized that there needed to be a change to the way you tap into your subconscious, to a change in what you believe God is, if God exists, or what the unifying energy in the world is, if there is one, a likely bringing you through many different profound experiences of isolation, of spiritual exploration, of meditation, of, yeah, isolation in really any form. It could be just social, it could be artistic, it could be due to mental health. Um, but ultimately, this signature is saying you've had to completely reclaim the fact that the manifest reality and long-term goals themselves are quite spiritual. But that has been a very rocky road, um, in the place where you might have been tested the most. So if you've watched this far, thank you. Um, Let me know. It's wonderful to bring this energy through because I am just having such a profoundly um, activating time at this moment where it's not even possible to let Pluto win or lose because we are Pluto. We are the soul. We have this intrinsic energy within us, and it's not anything to do with power above or power below, power over, power under. That's how it plays out in the world, don't get me wrong, and that's very, 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 very real. But what I have found is that everything you want to be is what you want to be. And any time or anything you want to do is also what you want to do. And so it's very easy to convince ourselves that what we want isn't what we want. And then we try to do something else in order to make it work. It's very difficult to admit what we want is what we want and then live through the consequences of that desire. Because sometimes it does show up like consequences. Sometimes authenticity does show up like, shoot, that sucks right now. Um, and yet it's still authenticity. It's a hard freaking pill to swallow sometimes. Um, it's not about regrets or no regrets. It's about honesty, vulnerability, and betting on yourself just a little bit more than you think you can. So that's where I'll end. Let me know what you think. So much love and goodbye for now.